Insights is an app that all teachers can install on their Microsoft Teams classes to be able to keep up with digital engagement of their students. To add this app, go into one of your teams and along the toolbar at the top, click on the plus sign. Look for the purple Insights app, or if it's not showing up, you can search it right here in the search bar. So we'll click on that app. And you want to make sure that you uncheck this checkbox down here. And this is just saying that if we have this unchecked, it's not going to post anything to the general channel newsfeed. Students don't have access to the Insights tab. This is just for teachers, but we want to make sure that that checkbox is unmarked. And then you're going to click Save to install that on your team. Once it's installed, you'll see it across the top of the toolbar. And when you click into Insights, it's broken down into two main sections, your digital engagement and then your assignments. If you're using Microsoft Teams strictly for the video conferencing feature, you won't see any data down here. But if you're giving your students assignments and grades in Teams, you'll have data in this section. The biggest part that we're interested in is this digital engagement. So it's broken down into your active students as well as communications. So when I click into Track Student Activity, it's going to give me a list of my students here, and it's got three sections that you can then filter even more. So you can filter and choose a specific student, you can filter by a specific activity, and you can filter using a date range. So if I change this to within the last 30 days, I'll see the last 30 days and I'll see these marks. The red indicates that the student was inactive for that particular activity, whether it was a chat, a video conference, or if I'm giving my students assignments. And if it's purple, that indicates that the student was active for that particular thing. When you hover over one of the markings, you can click on it to see more specific details. So when I clicked on that activity for that date, it took me to that specific date for the entire day. And so when I hover over this student's purple marking, I can see that's all the activities that she did that day. And it gives you a specific time. I can go out of that and hover over this student and again see that same information, and that's all of the stuff that she was doing on that day at that time. And you can notice that if I click back in, the length of the marking indicates the activity length and how long the student engaged in that activity. So I can click onto that to see the information, and when I want to go back, I just simply click again and it takes me back to that 30-day range. I click back to Overview. I can look in the communication activity, and this just shows me students either typing in the general feed or in a video conference chat. It shows their activity there. So if I look at September 15th, it's showing me that the class total activity was 2, so I had 1 reply and I had 1 reaction. And you can see over here that this student, Faith, is the one who had those 2 reactions. These students didn't type anything for this date range. And just like with activity, you can filter within a date range, you can filter into a specific channel, and you can look at specific students. If you're giving your students assignments and grades in Teams, you can look at that data more specifically here too. So I can click into assignments for all students, or I can again filter for a specific student. And it gives you student progress and then turned in stats. So I can see how many assignments were assigned, viewed, turned in, and returned, and then you can see if it was on time or late. If you're giving grades, it gives you the average grade of your class, and you can see the distribution data. So you can see how many students are in each score range. It even lists your students' grades from highest to lowest, or you can click and go from lowest to highest. You can look at all assignments, you can do a date range, and you can even change what student you're looking at. It also has the ability to give you trend data, so you can see the trend of your grades in that class. But I think the main feature that we're interested in at this time is the digital engagement and student activity. Again, you can filter by student, activity, or date range, and all you do is hover over either the red to see an inactive student. So if I click on that red, it's going to tell me that this student was inactive when I had a meeting. So you can see that this student missed a meeting 2 meetings. When I hover over this student, I can see that she missed this meeting, this 4-minute meeting that I had, but she was active for 3 of the 7 minutes of this second meeting that I had. And then same thing down here with Faith. I can see that there were 2 meetings that I had. She was active for 6 of the 7 minutes for one, 3 of the 4 minutes for one, and I can also see that she posted some information either in our general tab, and she also commented in the meeting. So some really good data here for us to keep track of what our students are doing during our meetings.